please type yes in the chat box. I don't see any yeses apart from Career Launcher host. Students, can you hear me? Okay, now I've started getting some yeses. Great. I am in a session, Raghav. No, I cannot give you any minute right now. Yeah. So please type a yes. So I see some yeses right now. My name is Nishant Pant, and we'll be talking today about the IIM Shillong guidelines to form filling, the form which has been sent to you and which you have to submit online. And the second thing which we are going to talk about is the selection process. My request to all the participants is, to all the attendees is, that please do not post any other queries apart from IIM Shillong today. Because I see some queries about XLRI. We'll have separate webinars for them. Right. So you can keep on typing your questions also in the chat box. I'll keep on seeing them. And let's start with the discussion. Of course, the first part of your form of IIM Shillong is a biometric form where you have to fill in all your various biodata kind of details, right? But then there are certain essay questions, and my purpose would be to throw some light on those questions and how you should go about them. Right. So let's take a tertiary look. Nikhil, the session has started. Please check your bandwidth. A lot of people can hear me. So when we take a tertiary look at the form, we'll find that one of the columns given over here is scholastic achievements. And here he has also said, may include merit certificates, ranks in board or university, prizes, positions in academic competitions, etc. Now, when you look at this particular question, first of all, he has said 50 words. So my suggestion to you would be that do not make it only in a point form. It's okay to make it in a point form, but try to write in a paragraph if you can, and highlight all the achievements, like any award, right? Any academic recognition that you have had. Just a moment, let me just set the pen. Yeah. So it could be your scholarship. So for example, if you were receiving a scholarship in college or school from the government of India or from the school itself, you should mention about it. You should also mention any participation or awards in the Olympiads, right? So this is another very important thing. Then you can also mention about any ranks that you have held at the university level or at the college level, right? So all these ranks, etc., can be mentioned over there. So again, let's go back to the question. And it also says merit certificates. Merit certificates can also include, for example, let's say you got a merit certificate for handwriting, for example, right? So you can mention it over there, any awards, etc., that you have had, right? But always remember, when you are mentioning them, the order should be starting from your college or your university, and then it should go down to your class 12th, and the last but not the least, it should be class 10th. Rahul, the session has started. If you can't hear anything, please check your bandwidth. Right, the session has started, Rahul. So, Rahul, please check your bandwidth. Yeah, Tejasvi has asked me a very pertinent question. And Tejasvi says, if I got first ranked in school for an Olympiad and overall 94.56 percentile in India, 715 AIR, can I mention? Rahul, why not? How many people have had this kind of an achievement? Right? You are one of those 715 people who have got this, right? Or maybe more than 715. But you should certainly mention it. First ranked in school for an Olympiad. You were one unique person over there. You should. I hope, Tejasvi, that answers your question. Right. So what I was saying is you move down from the college to the school, that is your class 12 and then 10. Ideally, you should not go down below class 10, right? Because if you start saying that I won a poetry competition in class 3, it would not cut so much of an ice. It would not make so much of an impression. And it also looks that you have had no achievements apart from class 3, whatever you did in class 3, right? So let's not get into that and let's be focused till class 10, right? Okay. The next question which I'm taking is describe your strengths. Maximum 50 words. Now, when we are talking about a strength, what can be our strengths? What is a strength? A strength is something which actually acts as an attribute in my advantage, to my advantage, right? So that is what you should mention. So your strengths can be different for different people, and you don't have to, talk about strengths which are widely acceptable, right? It can be your unique, peculiar strength. For example, in the world of today, not many people are punctual. So even punctuality could be one of the strengths, right? So, but then you should always talk about how punctuality acts as a strength for you, right? And it also says, somebody is asking me, can I mention ability in times of difficulty? Okay, somebody is saying punctuality, discipline, yes, definitely. And working in a manufacturing setup, it has become essential. In times of difficulty, patience is my strength, ability to adapt and gel with different types of people, definitely. You can mention all these things, right? But what is important is you should show how they become your strength, right? So when you are mentioning your strengths, mention at least 3, right? So that is important, and do not go overboard mentioning your strengths. And at the same time, you do not have to make your strengths, something like which suits the management environment or something. It does not have to necessarily do that. It can be a simple strength which is a peculiar area on your part, right? So it can be anything of that kind. So strengths, right? Try to mention at least 3 of them. So I hope I'm clear on the strengths part, right? So we'll get over with these questions very fast, and then we'll come to the more pertinent questions since we have only an hour with us today. Then we talk about weaknesses, right? Now, when we talk about weaknesses, I have seen, Rahul, you should give personal examples of strengths mentioned, how they have acted as your strength. Unless and until you do that, how would I know even that is your strength? It would be a mere attribute otherwise. Now, when we talk about weaknesses, again, I see a lot of candidates, what they do is, they try to manipulate their weaknesses in terms of in terms of, something they feel that would not go against them. For example, yesterday also in the boot camp, I was hearing a couple of people and they were saying that, sir, if I mention that I am a short-tempered person, so what's the harm in that? You might be, losing temper under certain circumstances. You can talk about that, right? So do not try to manipulate your weaknesses. That's the most important thing. So this is very, very important. But weaknesses which are, completely a no-no would be something like, I am a perfectionist. Now, how does becoming a perfectionist become your weakness, If you're a perfectionist, it's a good thing. How many people actually strive for perfection? Not many of them do. Yeah, but if it has held you down somewhere, then you can mention it as a weakness, but try avoiding such politically right weaknesses, so as to say. Right? And whenever you are mentioning weaknesses, please remember one thing, that with weaknesses, you should always talk about, remedial measures. That is very, very important. For example, let's say somebody says that my handwriting is not good, but these days I'm working upon my handwriting, if at all you are doing that. So be honest, right? Remedial measures to overcome weakness. That is also very, very important, right? So always go like this, because knowing your weaknesses, that you know it, you have an awareness, but what are you going to do to overcome it is a very important thing. It shows your proactivity. So that is also something which is very, very important. And those of you who cannot figure out your weaknesses, again, I would suggest that you sit with your friends, or if you have, on the lighter side, if you have younger siblings, they'll point out all your weaknesses to you. But the most important thing when you are talking about strengths and weaknesses, again, is being honest. You should be honest. That is the most important thing, right? Whenever you are filling the form, be honest while filling. That is very, very important, right? Because if you try to manipulate anything, you will not be able to carry it through. That is the most important thing. So somebody is saying that I tend to be over scrutinizing at times. So do you want to mention it as a weakness or a strength? Okay, it's a weakness you are saying. So how does over scrutinizing, Tejasvi, become a weakness for you? It might be one of the requirements of the kind of work and quality control that you do. But if it has pulled you down, you have to think, see, here I cannot suggest and prescribe anything to you. It's more about, it's more about an attribute that is completely unique, that is completely peculiar to you. So you should give it a complete thought and then you should write it. Because see, whatever you fill in this personal interview form, your interviews are going to be hovering around this personal interview form, right? So we need to be careful and honest when we are filling the answers. Then we are coming to the third question, and before that, let me just even have a look at this. Scholastic achievements we have covered, describe your strengths we have covered, describe your weaknesses we have covered. Give reasons for discontinuity in your academic career in achieving professional qualifications, if any. Also, there was this question, academic career. So, Mohit is asking me, can we go up to 120, 125 words if the limit is 100 words? Mohit, let's try not cross the word limit. But, if you do it by 5 or 10, it wouldn't make a difference. However, we should always try to respect the word limit. I hope that answers your question. So, Tejasvi, if you feel that it comes in your real life, then if you consider it to be a weakness, please go ahead and mention it. Okay. Give reasons for discontinuity in your academic career in achieving professional qualifications, if any. So how many of you have discontinuity over here? So discontinuity could be your gap years, basically. What he's asking you, gap, right? Gap could be in terms of that you were preparing for IIT JEE, or you were preparing for civil services, or you were preparing for any other examination, right? So it could be a gap. So be honest. Again, even if you did not clear IIT JEE over there, you mentioned that between my class 12th and my joining of the college or the engineering college or wherever you went to, you should mention that whatever you were doing. That is very, very important. Similarly, some of you would have left your work maybe a year ago, right? And you might be just preparing for CAT. Yeah, that might be the case. So what you can do is you should mention that as well. Somebody saying, sir, I worked for 1 year and quit in June 2013 for MBA prep. Should I mention it as a gap? You can leave it blank, Rahul. That is, this is not really a gap, but yes, there is a discontinuity. So it depends completely on you. You can talk about it. Yes, there's no harm, And if you are preparing for CAT, the maximum thing that they are going to do is they are going to ask you a question. Do you really think it was necessary for you to prepare for CAT? And the answer would come very honestly from you, right? So that's not an issue. Ravi has asked me the gap between completing CA and CAT exam during which I was working. So if you were working and CAT exam during which I was working, I did not get your question quite, Ravi. Can you tell me that was it between, were you working between CA and CAT exam? If you were working, then how does it become a gap? It does not become a gap, right? But yes, if there is a gap, then you talk about it. Somebody is saying, I took a break for IIT JEE and later I was able to get a rank in IIT. Will that suffice for explanation as I took a chance and showed my dedication to achieve it? Yes, definitely. You can talk about it. See, again, if there is a gap, if there is a gap, then anyways you cannot hide it, right? Because it will be reflecting in your mark sheets, it will be reflecting in your transcripts that you would be sending to the institute. So, Vikram, yes, if you don't have any gap, you'll have to leave it blank, my dear friend. Somebody is saying, as a professional degree, I have cleared, Aditya is saying, I have cleared papers of actuarial science, 3 papers, they don't give any marks as they only say pass and fail. How do I mention this in the form? As a professional degree, so you can simply say that I have passed so many exams of actuarial sciences. That's all. That's what you can do. From Pragun is saying, I graduated in 2013 and prepared for CAT. Should I mention it? Really, it's not a gap, Pragun. It's not a gap. Aditya, if the column asks for percentages, then you cannot do anything. In the time of the interview, you can tell them. Mohit has a valid question. So, Mohit, yes, you got a job in March 2013. So, of course, there was a gap. You should talk about it. Ashish has asked me a question. Do backlogs in colleges affect the selection process? See, Ashish, the first shortlisting anyways has selected you. Now, they would ask you for a complete, if your final results do not come out by the time they say that the results should be there, then it might affect your selection process. Otherwise, it wouldn't. Aisha is asking me, so I graduated in 2013, haven't been working, mostly prepared for CAT. Should I mention it? Should it be mentioned? No, it shouldn't be. Aisha, it's okay. Ashima, it's okay not to clear IIT JEE, but if there is a gap, you'll have to mention why you took a gap. Because it will reflect in your mark sheet. Mohit, please post your question again. There is a question mark. Sir, is it good if I mention I was preparing for CAT 2012? Yeah, man, you can do that because you have proven your mettle this year. Maybe last year you couldn't do it. Aditya is saying, and they are asking for my final year marks. I am in my 6th semester and I've got only the 5th semester marks. So can I fill only the first 2 year marks? No, please fill it till the 5th semester. That is what you will have to do, Aditya. Okay. So moving forward, somebody is asking me, do interviewers and GDs of reserved category students are held separately? No, they are not held separately. They'll be held with the common panel. Extracurricular activities and achievements. The option says 3rd year marks, 5th and 6th. 5th would be incomplete. So if it says 5th and 6th, so you have to mention the 5th semester marks if it is very completely given over there. If you have the 5th semester mark, Aditya, you should mention them. Otherwise, leave it blank. Oh, it wants an average. Oh. Okay. So, yeah, you make your best decision, right? You'll have to mention it until now. So you can just clarify that. Mohit, your question was? What to say for when asked for uncontinuous grades? What is this? Uncontinuous grades? Are they falling grades? Mohit, can you rephrase your question and put it across? I'll be glad to answer that. Okay. Till the time Mohit does that, let's move ahead. Extracurricular activities and achievements. Now, what are extracurricular activities? Extracurricular activities are anything that you do outside your curriculum, right? So when I say outside the curriculum, outside the regular academic curriculum, whatever you do is extracurricular, right? So it could be anything. It could be declamations, that is debate, right? It could be your sports. It could be your festivals. It could be your music. It could be anything, you know. I'm just mentioning 3. It could be more than these, right? So anything, whatever it is, you should talk about that. Sometimes I get good grades and sometimes bad. They rose, they fell. So Mohit, anyways, they will ask you questions, right? So you'll have to anyways mention it. And you have to be ready for the honest reasons for them. Social service participation, yes, of course. So let me add that as well over here. Social service. Right? So you can talk about that. Somebody says I was volunteer in the CWG games. Yes, you can mention. And campus recruitment, what were you doing in campus recruitment, Mohit? Were you a placement coordinator? If you were a placement coordinator, then it would come in a different column. Okay, we'll see that column in a while. Sir, will competitions such as case studies and business plans count as extracurricular activities? If they were done as competitions outside your curriculum, yes, definitely. Campus recruitment is not your extracurricular activity. It's a part of your curriculum. It's the end result of your curriculum, right? So it would not form an extracurricular activity. Achievements, when we talk about, we should mention any kind of citations, any kind of awards that we have won outside our regular academic curriculum, right? Out in the extracurricular activities, we can always mention all of these. Right. So I'm moving forward from here. Now see, there are 2 questions. One says extracurricular activities and achievements in them. Now if you move here, there's another question which is asking you accomplishment in sports, games, hobbies. So you can very well divide it across these 2 columns and talk about them. Any positions held in student associations or voluntary organizations. So somebody was talking about NGO, somebody was talking about the placement committee, right? So all that would come over here. Yes, it can include the various leadership titles, right? So your leadership titles, all this would be a part of this, right? So that is something which you should mention. So anything which you have achieved in your sports, any positions held, whether you were the captain of the college cricket team, you can mention that. Rahul, these columns anyways would overlap, right? They can have a common content, but do not try to repeat it. That's all. Divide it very wisely. So sports, games, hobbies, right? So for example, somebody is a photographer and he participated in the international photography competition, so he can always talk about that. Okay, if you feel that it was significant to be a part of the local football league and you still don't have a certificate, you can. Rahul, why should I go back to class 9? Have I not done anything significant beyond class 9? I should mostly talk about anything significant that I have done beyond class 9. Right. If there is nothing, then go. Then please go ahead. Right. So let me just again take a tertiary look at the form. So we have covered weaknesses, we have covered discontinuity, extracurricular interest, right? So all this we have covered. Now we are coming to two very important questions. One is the SOP. Resham has asked me, sir, college society positions can also be talked about in this accomplishment question. See, yes, any positions held in associations or voluntary organizations, so your college societies anyways would be a part of this. Right? So you can talk about that. Because see, why do they consider it as an accomplishment? Let's understand the psyche of the interviewer also. Because not everybody would become the president of a particular society. Not everybody would become a general secretary of a particular society, right? So there would be one person or two people who are holding such positions. So we should go ahead and mention them. Right? Okay. Now coming to your SOP question. So let me first share a whiteboard again with you and let's talk about an SOP. So when we talk about SOP, our purpose, so basically the full form is statement of purpose. So when we talk about the SOP, what do we have to talk about? We have to talk about what I want to do, where I want to be, right? And how a particular course from a particular institute is going to help me get there. So let's say you have to reach point B. Today you are at point A, right? So this is something which you need to think about. And what you have to answer is from A to B, how you are going to go ahead, right? There can be multiple paths, right? You have already crossed out many paths. So you have zeroed in on IIM Shillong. So you talk about how an IIM Shillong would help you to reach to point B, right? That is more important here. So basically it's about what I want, what are my aspirations, what are my aims, right? And what are my qualities and how a particular institute would help me in achieving my aims, right? So, for example, somebody may want to become an entrepreneur and that might be one of the reasons why he's going to a particular IIM. Or it could be that somebody simply wants a job, that's why he's going to a particular IIM. Or it could be something else completely, but the only thing when you're writing an SOP, be careful about one thing, that it has to be completely honest. if there is not an honesty in it, you will not ever be able to carry it forward. It will look like a burden on your shoulders. So Tejasvi is saying FMS ke liye he had written a good SOP, got it verified from various places. Will the same SOP do here? Tejasvi, if you are 100% convinced about why you want to do an MBA, right, and if you have not zeroed in on an institute, that might work. But if you have zeroed in on an institute and you feel that it's only that particular institute which can guarantee you a success in reaching to your aim, then you should, try thinking and introspecting more on that and write your SOP in a new light. So basically, when we talk about an SOP, the statement of purpose, we are looking at what is it that I possess, where is it that I want to be, right, and how, as a person, I see that particular institute or that particular degree taking me over there. Rahul, you can mention your achievements. However, you would have mentioned your achievements earlier in one of the forms. Like, for example, if I look at an IIM Bangalore SOP, it's just an SOP which asks you to talk about a lot of things over there. It asks you to talk about your achievements, your extracurricular activities, you as a person, and how an MBA is going to help you in achieving whatever you want to achieve in life. But here, since you have already mentioned your achievements, you may not repeat them. You may simply talk about what you want out of life, how that particular IIM, that is IIM Shillong, is going to help you to reach that particular goal. Right? So that's how your SOP should be written. So I'm waiting for some questions to come on the SOP. Please shoot. I hope I'm clear about the SOP, right? The only thing that you have to keep in mind is, while writing an SOP, you have to be dead honest. Rahul, if you're very specific about IIM Shillong and you have done a lot of good research about IIM Shillong and you feel that it is in tandem with your goals, it is the path to achieve your goals, then you can. Right? If you have not done, just don't try to eulogize it. My only concern while students write SOP is that most of you try to eulogize the institute. You try unnecessarily praise an institute which is not required at all. But if you feel that there are some attributes you can take from that particular institute which would shape your personality or which would shape your requirements for the achievement of your goals, you should always talk about them. I hope I'm clear on this. May I have some more questions on the SOP so that before moving to the next question? Raghun, it's absolutely fine to be looking for a job. Raghun is asking me, how should I put that I'm looking for a job? Yeah, that's the question, Pragun. What you have to talk about is you should think about why going to an IIM would actually better your chances of getting a job. I can get a job even without going to an IIM, but I should talk about how to get a job. How an IIM would help me to get a job. How would it leverage my chances of getting a job? Right. So do a little bit of introspection on that. The answer would come to you. What is the specialization offered here in IIMs? Right. The specializations are, you go to the website, you'll get a very clear-cut idea. Right. Marketing, finance, operations, HR. Aditya is asking me, should I have short-term aims or long-term aims? Aditya, really, it's not necessary to divide my aims and goals into long-term and short-term, right? But if you are clear about what you want to achieve in the short-term and how those short-term aims, lead you to a trajectory of, long-term aims where you want to be ultimately, you can mention. Otherwise, unnecessarily don't try to break it. Gaurav is asking me, is it okay to mention that I want to move up the career ladder faster because I'm already working in IT? Yes, if you feel that is the only reason why you want to do an MBA, there's no harm. But whatever you are mentioning, be honest. That's my only request to all of you. Don't try to unnecessarily cook up an aim. Mohit has sent me an interesting question. Mohit says, what the only honest reason of now is the best among the calls I got from that I have a work ex, I have to mention my profile and connect it to my goal. Yes, Mohit, definitely you will have to do that because otherwise why would you want to make an investment, such a huge investment and even discontinue your work where you could have earned so much, right? And you are making an investment, you are going there. So isn't it wise to think that the step that I'm taking, why am I taking that step? And the moment you start thinking, why are you taking that step, your SOP would become very, very clear to you. Aditya, if you feel that whatever you have written in the question to me, you should go ahead. There is no right or wrong answer for doing an MBA. Please understand. The only thing is that it has to be very, very logical as a thought process for you, right? So that is something which is important. So you need not think about that, I'm writing this, so they would reject me, or I'm writing this, they would accept me. There's nothing like that. As long as it is honest, as long as it is, thought through, it's logical, anybody can get convinced about it. Do not try to manipulate goals. Do not try to manipulate the reasons for going to an IIM. That is the only thing that you have to keep in mind. So, maybe for some of you, you might want to pursue a career in management research. That could be also one of the things, right? Some of you might just want a job. That could be one of the reasons. So whatever is the reason, it should come out very, very honestly over there. But the only thing is that you have to think about why this particular institute, why this particular degree that I need to go over there. Samiran, yes, you can definitely do that. Ashish is asking me, sir, I made a mistake while filling my FMS SOP and I made a spelling mistake. So how do I deal with that? Samiran, the thing is that, if you have done that, please accept it. Okay? So should I move to the next question now? I hope Ashima is saying, can I mention because of the brand name I see better future prospects here? Ashima, wouldn't this be very tertiary to just say brand name? What is a brand? Brand actually, it's not the brand name. What makes a brand a brand? There's a lot of things included in that. It's the faculty, it's the research, it's the industry interaction, it's the networking with the alumni, etc. All that make a brand, right? So start thinking on those aspects. Go to the website, research, think what clicks with you, and then you should talk about them. I hope I'm clear, Ashima. Am I? Okay, great. Somebody is asking me, do graduation colleges like IIT, DC, LSR given a preference? It's not really about any kind of a preference. It's not about a preference. It's about, let's say, if you have been from anywhere and if you have done exceptionally well, you anyways stand a better chance over the other person. It's really, we do not know whether they are given a preference or not. No, Aditya, that's not true. If you have done exceptionally well in your academics, why would you not, feature above a guy from IIT who has not done so well? Okay, I'm moving to the next question now. And the next question was, the next question was, mention any significant incident you have faced in your life Now, this is something very important, guys. Significant incident you have faced in your life and how you tackle the same, examine and comment on your decision. Now, this significant incident could be in your professional area, right? It could be in your personal life. It could be in your academic area. It could be in a tough situation, right? It could involve some kind of decision making, right? It could be a tough situation. So you need to really think about an incident that actually, put you under a lot of challenges, right? And what did you do to tackle the same? When I say, what was the decision that you took? And do you feel that the decision which you took was very prudent? And if it was prudent, how was it prudent? Ashish, the question which you have spoken about, which I do not want to speak in the forum, if you really feel that changed you as a person and there's nothing much more significant, right? And the decision which you took in that particular situation, if it was prudent, and if you feel that you were very logical when you took that decision, why can't you mention it? You can, definitely. Ideally, we should try to restrict it to more than to one incident, right? Because in 50 words, how much would you want to write? If you feel that some lot of questions are coming to me on that, sir. We mentioned, for example, there was a failure on our part, right? So we took some decisions over there. If you have learned anything out of those decisions, you have applied those learnings into your daily life, if you have introspected enough about them, why not? Why can't failures be mentioned? Why does it only have to be successes? As long as it is, something which you overcame with a lot of, tenacity, with a lot of logical approach, you can always mention such incidents. No, it does not have to be a sad tragedy always. Arpan, there is no audio, so I think you'll have to listen to the recording. Because I cannot, really help you out in this case. But I'm writing to you. Doesn't have to be a sad incident always. Right? I hope that clarifies your question. Okay. You can mention personal incidents. You can mention any other incidents where you showed some qualities. You can talk about them. Why should Samiran it go against you? If you were stammering and now you have overcome that problem, it's an achievement in itself. Rahul, sound is there. Please check your bandwidth. Mohit, getting recruited to the campus recruitment, how does it become a significant incident? It's something which would be happening to all the kids over there. Were you the only one who got recruited, or were you only the few who got recruited? And what was the decision you took over there? It's asking you for something which you faced, right? Something which you faced and where you overcame that. It can be a failure also, right? But what did you learn from that failure is something which is very, very important. And those of you who do not have any significant incident in your life, you unnecessarily do not have to fill the column. Please do not try to fill in everything. Ashish, language may play a role, but content plays the more important role in a GD, right? Language to an extent might play a role because somebody who is able to express his ideas in a particular language might be able to do so very clearly. But apart from that, I don't think so. If he's hollow in content, the panelist keeps on noting that down. Vikram, then you leave it blank. No, if there is no situation, if you feel that there was nothing where you had to take a decision, why would you want to cook up an incident? Never ever be dishonest about any such thing, right? So this is something which is very, very important, guys. See, the points which you should remember while filling the form are: be honest. That's the most important thing. Read the directions carefully. Be clear about what to fill. I think tonight all of you should be awake, thinking about what should be done. Be brief, be succinct. Do not try to be verbose. You have to respect the word limit. Yes, this is very, very important. Prepare the first draft in a rough form. Because what happens is, a lot of us, in a hurry, we tend to write and we might make a lot of spelling mistakes. We might make a lot of grammatical errors. We might, completely distort what we want to say. So do not do that. Of course, handwriting would not be a concern over here because everything is online, right? And watch out your spellings, etc. It can be a general transition in your life, but but if you look at the directions very, very carefully, it says that mention one significant incident. So I think, if I go by the directions, I should focus on one significant incident. But otherwise, if you feel that there has been a transition and that was something, where your decision-making abilities had to be put into picture, you can talk about them. So I hope I'm clear on this. Any further questions? Right. So let's look at this also. Yes, it can be organizational challenges that you have encountered, Mohita, and if there was some significant decision that you took, that's what I said. It could be professional, it could be personal, it could be academic, it could be of any nature. You can talk about it. Okay. Now, if you go to the website of IIM Shillong, you'll figure out something very interesting. What did it say? IIM Shillong will conduct a PI. It was silent on the GDs. As of now, we do not know. They have not declared. And there was a thread on a lot of forums also where nothing about the GD has been written. Right? So please don't ask me whether they are going to conduct a GD or not. As of now, according to the website, they have just written a PI. So we do not know. Right? But you be prepared for a GD. We never know what might happen over there. So they might have a GD towards the end, right? So let's not go by urban legend. Let's focus on and take it as it comes. So, but be prepared about a GD as well. Now, these are some of the important things that you should note about the PI process of IIM Shillong. Usually, last year also it was happening, comprising 3 members, right? Focus on current affairs as well as on the candidate's academics. So that is something which is very, very important. You should prepare on your favorite subjects, right? And focus upon at least 2 of your favorite subjects. And go by your core subjects. So a lot of you have attended the SIC already. You know what to do in this regard, right? So prepare your subjects. That is very, very important. Current affair questions were directed towards seeking the candidate's opinions on various issues, and these opinions were often discussed thoroughly. Yeah, what is important is like, we always discuss in the boot camps and the exercises, also in the VAT exercises, that it's not only about facts, it's also about the opinion that you take upon a particular situation, upon a particular instance. So that is something which is very, very important. And for example, if in your hobbies, if you have mentioned sports, right now, for example, the Australian Open is going on, so they might question you on Australian Open or whatever might be happening on cricket, right? If somebody has mentioned photography, so they might ask you, anything related to very famous photographers. I don't exactly recall the name. A very famous photographer died very recently, right? An international war photographer. So somebody mentions politics. So there's a lot in politics that's happening across the world. In India, it's happening, right? So they might ask you your opinions on all those things. And of course, your graduation subjects are very, very important, right? So I have already told you that you should prepare. Chess, Sudoku, yes, they can ask you questions on chess and Sudoku. So whatever you have done, you be well prepared about them. Prior work experience, or if you're working right now, be prepared about the knowledge about your company, right? So it's something, you should be aware about your work area. That is one thing. You should be aware about the knowledge of your, you should have knowledge about your company affairs, right? So that is very, very important. Your department, right? So all these things are very important. Yes, they can ask you about the vendors, etc. But if it is not to be revealed, don't reveal it, right? Don't reveal any information which is classified by your company. But please do not try to pass out any information which is in the public domain as classified, right? So that is very, very important. And usually you'll find that the interview process would be around 20 to 30 minutes long. So if you want to deny revealing that information, you can tell them, sir, unfortunately, or I'm sorry, I will not be able to do this because my company does not allow me to reveal this information. That also shows your ethics. But please do not try to do it for every question, every information about your company, right? So if something is there in the public domain, you definitely cannot say that my company does not allow me because it would be there on the internet, etc. Right? So this is how the IIM Shillong process would go on. And of course, you can do the Power PDP online and you can do your PDP programs, right? So I'm waiting for another 5 minutes for the questions, then we'll close the session. So Tejasvi, I hope I have answered your question. Ashish has asked a wonderful question, He's saying, sir, how well read and studied are the panelists? My dear friend Ashish, they are learned people, they are professors, they are paid to read, they will do a lot of research on your profiles before you go. So don't go there thinking that, I will make a fool out of the panelists. You cannot do that. Even if you write philosophy, he'll ask you questions on philosophy. If you write about gaming, they'll ask you questions on gaming, right? So they are well read. Don't take them for granted, please. See, whatever you fill in your form, you have to be well prepared with whatever you have filled, right? So that's the most important thing. And don't try to gas around. Don't try to, project something which you are not. Don't try to project an image which is larger than life over there, right? So I'm already getting, thank you, sir. So I think it's time for me to shut up now. Is it? Any other question? So you can note down my email ID. I've got a question. I have a work experience of 3.5 years. Do I need to prepare any subject from my graduation? No, See, have basic knowledge about whatever you have studied in your graduation. However, your most of your interview would be around your work experience. My email ID is NISHANT, and there is a dot in between, and PANT @careerlauncher.com. You can send your queries over here, or you can go to GP's blog, right? So you can go to GP@careerlauncher.com. Yeah, you see, Mohita, if you do not have any scholarship, etc., there must be some achievements that you have had, right? So you can talk about that. Otherwise, leave it blank. Subha is asking me, sir, I'm an average student and never achieved any academic award or rank. So it's okay. Doesn't matter. Not all of us would have received awards or ranks, but you might have sometimes stood, first in your school, etc., or any rank. If there is any rank, etc., you can mention it. Otherwise, leave it blank. Oh yes, you can do that. You can talk about the 10th rank. Yeah, Mohita, you can definitely mention that. Because not a lot of people go over there. Not a lot of people go even in the student exchange program. Right. So we'll close the session. Thank you and a good night. And please introspect, revise, and send your forms. Yeah, if you have been head boys and head girls, it's okay. If you do not have any proof for them, then also you can at least write about them. Right. So that's not an issue. Right. So we'll close the seminar. I hope it was helpful. Right. So you can send your feedback, you can send your questions, etc., to our email IDs. Thanks a lot and good night. Host, please close the session.